You're listening to XRP Radio. That was Fading Memory from ACID Mo, but I am now joined here with Glen Foster of the Glen Foster Group, all the way from Canada, delivered into our tiny little studio via the joys of the internet. So, Glen, how are you first? Let's do the pleasantries.
Well, you know, like I don't really have anything to complain about. I'm healthy, well fed. You know, it's not quite winter here yet. It's raining like crazy, but basically I'm feeling pretty good.
Excellent. That's good to hear. And with a big smile as well. You know it's real when they say that with a smile. It's not like in England when you have a load of people go, "You're right." Yeah, I'm all right.
Yeah. Well, you know, that's showbiz. I've done a few TV shows and I learned, you know, because people can be miserable as hell. And then as soon as you get in front of the camera, they'd light up and, you know, be happy and everything. Then they come back to the green room and they're just miserable. So it's, you know, but I'm feeling pretty good.
Good. That's excellent to know. And I can confirm this because Glen didn't actually realise that we were going to be visually live today. So it is a legitimate, real, non-fake outside the green room smile, which is good to know. So let's get straight into it. Let's go with let's hit with the big and main reason that you're here, which is your latest release. I say latest. We were a bit busy and it passed us by just a tiny bit. But Final Act of Defiance does sound a bit final. But what's it about from your point of view?
Well, it's a funny tune. It's kind of almost like a novelty tune, and it's meant to be sort of like the last song on my album. Because I've got a concept for this album, and I'll get into that a little bit later. But Final Act of Defiance is a funny thing because I sort of challenged myself to write a song that had the four instruments of the apocalypse, or people sometimes say the four instruments from hell, which are an accordion, a banjo, the bagpipes, and sitar.
Right.
So I put them all in one song. Each one kind of taking a break as it went along, and then near the end of the song, they all come together and gloriously play together on the same track.
I mean, it sounds like a cacophony. Whatever persuaded you to take such a? I mean, it can't have been easy to compile some of the most hated instruments in the world, if we're being honest.
Yeah, it's true, but you know they're you know, without using synthesizers, I have friends who, you know, each one of them plays those instruments and plays them really well. I guess, you know, the thing that occurred to me that would be kind of interesting or maybe a little humorous is that to release a song to radio or anybody like yourself, XRP, or anybody who might potentially play it, like there's something in there for everybody to hate. And I thought, you know, like I'm kind of thumbing my nose and saying, you know, I almost dare you to play this because it's so bizarre. And you know, for anybody who hates banjo, you know, they're not going to play it. But surprisingly, a lot of people really like it and have been responding positively to it.
I mean, you've definitely got the humorous side of it down. It's almost like it because you've done all four of them. We're kind of baited into playing it at least once, so other people have to experience it at minimum. But the weird thing is, and I have to say this, it's actually kind of good. Which is, I mean, that's the shocking thing. People are saying, oh, you know, receive a track with, oh, you've described it from your mouth would put off most people in wanting to play it, apart from out of curiosity. And then you put it on. And you have got some very talented musicians to play on it. One thing I do want to shout out to anyone that's listening that wants to check them out is on Glen's socials pages. You can see some clips of said artists playing their instruments which you did in quite a fun way. Like, what the hell's going on here? Which is brilliant.
Yeah, thanks. And that was kind of part of the package too, was to do something visually with the video, because I'm pretty much into videos, and I like doing videos for all my songs. But visually, that would be like kind of jolting, like what's happening now? Like, it starts out as a rock song, and then all of a sudden you've got some guy playing an accordion like he's at Oktoberfest, you know. So it's sort of the shock value that comes along with it too, right?
Yeah, it's brilliant. I love the idea of it. What came first, as it were, the chicken or the egg? Was it a challenge set for you? Did you sit down and be like, I'm going to find the worst instruments on the planet, or where did the concept come from in its earliest stages?
Well, you know, like I have quite diverse taste, and I probably have a little Scottish blood, so I've always liked bagpipes. I've got sort of a country rock background, so I like banjo and mandolin and that type of stuff. And I've always been quite fascinated with Rabbi Shankar and the use of sitar in pop music. So all those elements were like very very comfortable for me to use, and it was just kind of a matter of how do I use these all in a song.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like a daunting task to me, because again, the instruments themselves, they're not known to be easy to mix and produce and record either. Right. Did you come across any like stumbling blocks? Like, was the banjo just a nightmare to deal with or anything?
No, surprisingly, it was all fairly easy. I played the banjo myself, and which I've done a little bit of. Mm-hmm. And the thing was, getting really good musicians. As long as you have like people who really know what they're doing, then it all kind of laid down quite easily.
Excellent. Well, that's good. That's great. It's always good when a plan comes together. I'm looking at it as a producer, thinking, you're very lucky. I can't imagine a more daunting task myself.
Well, I didn't know how they were all going to fit together, mm-hmm. until we actually got to the point in the mixing where in one song, all those four instruments come together, plus plus guitar and bass and drums, and as soon as we heard it for the first time, I thought, wow, I'm kind of lucky in a way, but in another way, like, I've achieved something here that maybe nobody's ever really done like this before.
Yeah, what did you go with the directions for? I mean, was it kind of can everyone just kind of play something in E minor and hopefully it'll come together, or like how did you direct such a diverse selection of musicians, or did you come in straight away with like the composition, as it were, and you just like play that?
Yeah, I knew with the structure of the song that I was gonna sing a verse, which is basically just like a rock, like an mm-hmm. R&B rock song, and then we used a metronome, so we kept the meter steady, and just designated, okay, we've got 8 bars or 4 bars here, and we're just gonna throw in a banjo or a accordion. And we rehearsed the band so that when the accordion came up, we did a polka beat, and the same thing when it came to the bagpipes, for instance, we shifted the key up to B flat because that's where bagpipes mm-hmm. are comfortable, and we just did like one of those steady da 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 da, like a march beat. Yeah. So we had the rhythmic background all set up for those instruments to come in and do their thing.
Excellent. Well, I think after all that, without further ado, we should inflict this onto the masses. So for the listener, it's been a little while since we've done an interview. So for those that may have forgot, or for those that don't know, the visual stream on our social networks, due to social networks not liking us playing music and insisting that everything is a copyright of something else, me and Glenn will be talking in a kind of green room situation in the background on the visual feeds that you see everywhere on XRP Radio, which is where you probably should be listening to. Really, you have the selection of being able to listen to the whole track in full without us jibber jabbering over it, or if you click on the video stream in the top right hand corner and unmute that, you can get us chatting in the background. If you may have by some miracle already heard it or heard enough, who knows? So on that note, would you care to introduce it, sir?
Okay, this is a song called "Final Act of Defiance," and as I said previously, it's kind of my commentary on the music business and what I've been dealing with and what I know friends have been dealing with as far as getting paid properly, and the pittance of that you get from streaming sources, and it's from an album called Unnatural Tendencies. So the Unnatural Tendencies is kind of the opposite of doing things that we're going to work. You do a rock song, you put a guitar solo in it or an organ solo. So an unnatural tendency is to just do something crazy, like throw a sitar in it, or throw an accordion in the middle of a rock song.
Here we go. I mean, you've got me straight away because it's coming in with quite a funky feel.
Yeah,
I love my funk.
Me too.
So going into all that streaming stuff and all that, where do you feel like the future of the independent artist is, if not just attempting to break through these kind of constraints?
Well, I'll tell you, it's difficult to make money in this business as an independent artist, and so I think the main concern is being able to do things yourself, which is what I've done kind of by necessity, and if you can do your recording at home, then you're going to save some money and
Mm-hmm.
different ways of just surviving in the business.
Yeah, I mean, I've been kind of following the trends of bands getting into more bespoke kind of merchandising and physical media to try and support themselves more. And then you see a lot of the other bands just trying to push and getting into, like, let's get that streaming revenue up and let's get that moving. What from your experience, what would you do? Where do you stand on that?
Well, it's funny because there are so many things that you can do to promote yourself, but everything takes a lot of time. Unless you've got somebody working for you, and it might be a family member like your spouse or somebody who's helping you. But if you have to do it all yourself, I find that you can only kind of focus really well on one or two or maybe three things. In other words, focus on Spotify and streaming if you want, but you could spend all of your time doing that and get nothing else done. So you got to figure out what's working best for you. I find that internet radio is working really well for me, thanks to guys like yourself, Tiz, and XRP Radio, who are open-minded and willing to listen, and because of that, I'm getting a lot of followers. People are discovering me on internet radio, and I like doing that.
That's great to hear. I think. Oh, sorry, track is finishing. Final Acts of Defiance, a Glen Foster group, and we have Glen Foster in the virtual studio with us. We were just chatting about stuff like directions to go when you're stuck as an independent band and stuff like that in the background. If you missed that, it will be available on all our social networks as a live video, so go back and listen. But moving forward a little bit from that, where do you find some of your most comfortability? So we were talking about internet radio being a help for you, and I didn't pay him to say that, by the way, everyone. But I notice quite often the question is asked of artists, what do you prefer? If you could be a studio artist that has a lot of listeners and followers, or you could be a gigging artist and have lots of packed gigs. Right. Which one would you aim for? And I'm going to ask that first to you, but then bring in what you kind of just mentioned there.
Okay. Well, I'm kind of in the middle of the road, I guess. I can kind of consider myself a jack of all trades when it comes to the music business. I mean, I like writing songs. I like producing in the studio, and I'm also a performer. So to me, it's kind of a little bit of everything. And going into a recording studio is expensive. So I sort of, offset that with doing the gigs, but it's hard to make ends meet by just doing gigs alone. So you got to try to sell your music too. And I've had a few placements of my songs, but nothing significant enough to create like a really good revenue stream for me. So I just keep doing what I do.
Now, as I said, I was going to tie that in with what you were saying about, internet radio, not specifically, but the internet as a whole. Now, I've seen, we mentioned before that you were doing your kind of bits of videos of the recording process and stuff like that that's gone on. But there's been a lot of people, again, doing live interviews or wanting to come onto live performances online. And there's been quite a strong differentiation between that and kind of gigging live, obviously, because you've got a separation from the audience and stuff. But is that something recently social media hasn't quite been able to pull it off to the standard of like a live DVD from a venue,
right?
To Bob down the road playing a guitar in front of his webcam in a bedroom. There's a slight quality change. But like, what do you feel like the future, as it were, of performance and sales and such is from your perspective after kind of trudging that middle road, as you said?
Yeah. Well, I think that that combining your music with video is important. There's a lot of people that can pick up guitar and maybe learn to play and write some good songs, but I think your chances are far greater of having your song heard if you can produce a somewhat interesting video. I mean, it's hard to compete with Hollywood. We just can't do that on our own, but you can still do things that are relatively inexpensive, but that are creative. And get the concept and the idea of your song across. I think that's important.
I think it's becoming more and more important when the music more and more is becoming more passively listened to, I think. So a lot of people listen to music, but it's rarer and rarer for someone to sit down and just listen to music. That it's while you're driving or while you're cooking, or it's an addition to a thing. And I remember years and years ago going around my mate's house and we would sit there and we'd just listen to CDs and talk about the music that we're and I think those kind of days have gone a bit, and that visual aspect makes you have to watch, and that's the other thing that you're doing, I guess, to a point. And I have to say that Final Acts of Defiance was a great way to make people watch, because when I was seeing those videos, it was exactly, I remember some of your comments were like, what's going on here then? And that is exactly what I was thinking every single time.
The other thing too that we notice in our business is that people's attention spans are shorter, and that people are not. I don't think listening to albums as much as they used to. So singles become important, and if you can keep them under 4 minutes, then you got a much better chance of being heard. So that's just kind of like where things are at and what we're dealing with right now.
Definitely. I have seen some horrific moments where I've seen bands getting into the kind of 30 to 40 track length moments to get their stuff out on TikTok and such like that, and it's a depressing direction in my personal opinion for music, but I guess sometimes you have to do a little bit of that to pull them into what else you do.
Yeah. And that's something that I did with that last song, Final Act of Defiance. I made little video clips of each instrument playing, and they were like maybe 10-second video clips, and I put them out on all my social media, and I did that over a week. So here's one of the banjo, here's one of the sitar, here's one of the guy playing electric guitar, and it got people's attention and kind of drew them into when the song was actually finally released, and they sort of were wondering, well, how's this going to turn out?
Yeah. It's a very good video plan for that. It has to be said. Sorry, I've got one eye on some of the more bizarre questions that I have to ask you, courtesy of our lovely listeners. So this one, you've got stuff that has become poignant through weird discussions that have happened in the chat box. So I apologise for this. But when you leave a pub or a place, do you leave your beer or shot glass on the table or take it back up to the bar?
I always leave it on the table.
Ooh,
people something to do.
Oh, those people! No, this is not
trouble already.
This is not what I expected from a Canadian.
They have to earn their tips. They're working, and we got to put them to work.
I do like that though. Something completely the other end of the world. Godzilla or King Kong?
Godzilla.
Good choice. You definitely picked the right one there. Doing a little bit of a scroll. I'm not even going to explain. I don't know. I don't understand some of these questions, and this is why I love doing them. Tacos or hamburgers?
Oh, I'm a hamburger guy. Yeah, cheeseburgers. We also once in a while get bison burgers.
Bison burgers. I want to try a bison burger really badly.
Very high quality meat. Really good.
Is it? Oh, I am a meat. I have eaten I've eaten safari grills and stuff just to try it. I'll try anything once. Ostrich, emu, lion, shark, crocodile. Crocodile is a weird meat. Don't eat crocodile. Or alligator. Was it crocodile or alligator? One of those.
You heard my song Cactus Whiskey and Alligator Steak, right?
Yes. In fact, I think we half had this conversation before because of that song. So. Favorite frozen pizza? Everyone's going food orientated now.
I don't have one, admittedly, and we make our own pizza.
Oh, good choice.
Yeah,
good choice.
Fact,
this is a very. Oh, sorry. Carry on.
Well, I was just going to say, you can do everything. You can make your own dough, and have all fresh stuff on a pizza. So better to eat healthy.
Now, this next question is actually incredibly poignant because of your geographical location and the fact that I had a very bad experience. Does Tim Hortons suck?
No, we love Tim Hortons in Canada.
No,
I'm sorry. They have soups and pretty good sandwiches, as well as great donuts and coffee. So we like them here.
I debate All of that. It must be the UK version of it. Did you see the meal that I got from Tim Hortons? It was I had to put it on Facebook. It
I
was
think I did
terrible.
see that post. Yeah, it was disgusting, wasn't it?
It was not good. It was not good. Right, let's have a few more of these. I know the answer to this one, but let's have it from your mouth. Did you play the accordion?
No.
No. And so, more importantly, who did play the accordion?
That's a guy named Len Imbury, who's just a great all-around musician. He also plays steel guitar, pedal steel guitar.
Ah, very cool, very cool. On that note, let's just to do a few call outs whilst you're here, because we may as well shout out the famous, share the fame with the people. I had a sentence there and he's just gone. What the studio that you produce your music at is?
It's Mountain View Recording, and it's in Nanaimo, British Columbia. We're on the west coast of Vancouver Island, which is out in the Pacific Ocean, the west of Canada.
There we go. And they do a decent job. Right, last few of these silly ones. Oh, favorite banjo player?
Bella Fleck.
That's really funny because Craig said, I'm a big Bella Fleck fan myself.
Bella Fleck is unbelievable. He's fantastic.
Favorite song by Rush?
Tom Sawyer.
Tom Sawyer? Okay. And is Mickey Mouse a guy in a suit or the real thing?
Mickey Mouse? He's a Disney character.
He's a Disney character. I like it.
Yeah.
I think we'll leave those there. I think they're scratching the bottom of the barrel here. Yeah. Right. I did say I wanted to leave you on a track that we kind of quickly passed by because we were very busy over in the XRP lifestyle land. Sure. And it was a track that was actually really, really good and really well received the few times that we managed to get out and play it because we missed so many shows. So before you go, would you like to give us a quick little rundown of this and an introduction?
Okay, so I guess what we're going to listen to is what's the title of the track?
Don't Need a Reason.
Don't Need a Reason.
Sorry.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So the big picture to this song is that I had a song that I'd written, a very simple song called "Friends Like That," just a three chord progression, and we recorded that 2 or 3 years ago. And I thought, what if you take those 3 chords and that song was in the key of G. So take those 3 chords and use the same chord progression, but write a song in the key of C. And then take a totally different song, but keep the chord progression the same, but make it in the key of D. So you've got 3 different songs, and then and keep the tempo the same so that you can run the whole thing as one long song, and kind of fuse them together. So I did that in the studio. I've got 3 songs, and it's a suite, and it's called the Unnatural Tendencies. That runs 16 minutes long.
Okay.
So, anyways, this song, "Don't Need a Reason," was kind of like the idea for the lyrics was that there are haters out there who don't like this, or they don't like that, or they don't like this kind of music and they don't like that. So I thought, well, if you try to please those people and make them happy, then you have to be careful to don't do anything to give them a reason to hate.
Oh yeah.
And my wife turned that around and she said to me, "You know what, Glenn? They don't need a reason to hate you. If they're haters to begin with, they're gonna hate you one way or another." So that was my focal point for writing the lyrics behind the song. And I actually wrote about 21 verses to this song, and then sorted them all out and picked out what I liked the best.
Oh, very cool. What a story! This is one thing with Glenn. Every time that I've spoken to him, he has a very in-depth story and reasoning for every single track that he's done, and I love it.
Thanks.
I love it. A musician with purpose.
Yes,
That's what
right.
I like to see.
We got focus and a reason for doing what we do.
That's it, and we don't need a reason. Wait, what was I going to say though? For the radio listeners, we'll talk a little bit more in the background of this track. But for the radio listeners, would you like to introduce the track itself and say goodbye?
Yeah. Hi everybody. My name's Glen Foster. We're going to play a song for you called "They Don't Need a Reason," and it's from my next album that will be out sometime, maybe in the new year, probably spring of 2024, called "Unnatural Tendencies."
Lovely. Right then, great interview as always. I just bought, as soon as you said Cactus Whiskey and Alligator Steak, I remember we had a whole conversation about all the weird meats that I ended up. That was good. So, as a little sneaky peek for those that are keeping eyes on us, what's coming up next for the Glen Foster group?
Well, I was in the studio on the weekend and we recorded 5 songs. I've got 5 more songs coming, but we just did basically bed tracks and a few overdubs. So for the next, I think probably, up until Christmas, maybe into the new year, I'm going to be busy adding vocals to those songs, more of bringing in like really, really excellent quality musicians, like someone to play violin, maybe mandolin, and get some of the best singers in the area to come in and sing background vocals, that type of thing.
Okay, that's mandolin ever expanding the range of instruments that's on this.
Yeah.
Have you got an instrument count yet? Do you know how many instruments and musicians you've used so far?
No, but I'm a pretty good record keeper. I keep track of everything. So if you ask me that at the end of the day, I'll know exactly how many. But isn't it kind of like we like to take a page out of what the Beatles did? When they when they started releasing stuff like Sgt. Pepper, that all of a sudden there was orchestration and then there was sitar and stuff, or they'd use an oboe or something. Yeah,
it's nice to bring back some of these. So many instruments have been forgotten about, but at the depths of synthesizers and the ability to recreate something that's similar and then change it to your own demise. A lot of the sweet tones of real instruments are getting lost more and more these days.
Yeah, you get specialty things. I'm also a big fan of Brian Wilson.
Okay.
And of course, he was limitless with. He creates something, and if he thought, well, this needs this particular sound, he would go and get the right instrument for it.
Yeah,
so I think it's great to have that type of authenticity in your music. It's terrific.
Yeah, definitely. Where are we with time?
Great guitar in this song, eh?
Yes, definitely. It's a strange one because realistically in vocal melody line, obviously the chords that you're playing all the way through, at bare bones it's the same from start to finish, but you've added so many just little elements that keep it listenable to you, that stop it from being boring. I mean, obviously the lyrics are quite hard hitting, really. They're quite relatable to a lot of people, obviously. But
sometimes we get together. I'll go to jams, right? And I'm sure you do too, and lots of people.
It's been a while.
And it's nice to have a song that's really simple for people to say, and just show them, like, here's the 3 chords. You can't go wrong. Just stick to this. And then then you can jam on your song.
That's excellent. I like the idea of being able to just take one of your own songs to a jam and just see lots of people's influence on it.
Yeah,
that's excellent. Well, I'm afraid that we have to say goodbye again, but it's been a pleasure to have you on.
Thank you, Chris. It's a pleasure for me too.
We must do it again. Make sure you let me know when your next ones are coming out. If we've got 5 more,
Will do.
But for now, thanks for joining us once again, and yeah, keep us in touch.
Okay, thank you for everything that you do at XRP Radio for for independent music and songwriters like myself.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure.
Okay, that's it then. I always find it awkward to end these bits, but see you later, Glenn, and have a great rest of your evening.
All right, peace and love from Canada.
Peace. That was it from the Glen Foster group. We are going back into a bit of a tag show, and we've got some brand new tracks to play for you this evening. However, just for a second, here's the muted bell. Oh, and for the visual listeners, because I haven't done this in a while and realised that I've got to do everything separately, join us back over at xrpradio.co.uk/chat, and you can hear everything that's going on over there. See you later, everybody.